Rather, one must wake up every morning with a mission, with a goal to do something which will leave an impact on the world. One could be thinking through the cure to cancer on the way to work, or they could just be helping the group of kids cross the busy intersection. They can make a large donation to organizations like Adoptions Together Forever, please do. Or they could donate their time to help get second graders who are behind in their reading levels up to speed. But whatever your deed is, make a decision and stick to it. This decision, it could be made in an instant, whether or not to stop and help those kids cross the street while you're already late, or it could take some more thinking over. But regardless what your decision is, look for opportunities to expand on that good deed. If the street is constantly busy, petition to the local government for a crosswalk. If your elected official won't listen to a large coalition of residents, challenge them. You may not see the opportunities which lie ahead when you begin your initial quest. You may not see the road on which you will walk, but if you continue to put one foot in front of the next and step boldly, you may end up doing something much larger than you initially sought out for. When I was 4 years old, I began performing, and I was technically still too young to be in the first show. But I was at all the rehearsals, and because both of my older brothers were in the show, the director forgot one day that I wasn't, and he began giving me blocking for my part. And in the moment, it was a very small sliver of a role. I didn't have a single line. The song we sang was simplistic, and the dance moves, well, I still can't really dance today. But that moment, it was my first step towards something larger. And 2 years after that first role, I was cast in The Duchess of Malfi at the Shakespeare Theater in Washington, D.C. Yes, I was a 6-year-old first grader finding out that the government had some Ponzi scheme going called taxes, which made me have to pay for the school I had to go to all year, even though I didn't want to go. But the poise of that young 6-year-old drove my talent agent, Linda Townsend, to send me to New York to audition for the role of young Simba in The Lion King on Broadway when I turned 8. And I auditioned for that role, but I didn't make it past the first cut. Me and my mom, we took the long drive up to New York and back, and we were just excited just to even have the chance, even though it didn't go my way. And 6 months later, we got another call for the audition for Simba again. And this time it was on tour. And I spent the time preparing for this audition, that 6-month period, even practicing the part with a neighbor named Nadia Ross. We both went for the audition together. I auditioned for Simba, she auditioned for Nala. Felt so great about the audition until I saw Christian Warner add a backflip into the dance routine, and needless to say, I didn't get the part that time. Yet. But Nadia did. And she and I went to school together up until this point. And the whole school knew that we were both going up for the audition, and the whole school was waiting to hear back. And when she went on tour for the year and a half, I was occasionally the bottom of a joke, told that I would never get the part because the whole time she was playing Nala on tour, I was still just auditioning in New York, still taking those long trips up with my mom usually, and back each time, not getting a phone call to hear whether or not I got the part. Until one day, out of all of those trips that my mom and I took up to New York together for those auditions, she was unable to drive me. And so my dad and I took the 4-hour drive up. And I didn't need to print the script anymore. And I hadn't needed to in years at that point. I was 11 at that time. I'd spent 3 years auditioning for the role, which was beginning to become more than just a character for me. I knew that script front to back by heart, and the dances which I struggled with, yeah, I had those down. Now, if they asked me to do another dance, they would have seen right through me. But I drilled that choreography into my feet night after night, day after day for 3 years. I committed myself to make a difference in my own life. Now in that audition, I'd been doing this for so long that you kind of just build up this belief that it's never gonna happen. And this was the same feeling that I had in that audition. But my dad was listening to the audition through the blinded window, and all the parents did, he says. And they knew that in that moment I got the part because it was undeniable. I'd spent 3 years growing dreadlocks just so I would look more like Simba, and I did. spent the 3 years perfecting the audition pieces, making each scene my own, and I did. In fact, The Lion King on Broadway just celebrated their 20-year anniversary, and they invited all of the former cast members up. This was actually last Sunday, so 6 days ago, to watch the show. And one of the creative decisions that I made to make Simba my own, to make it stand out, one of these decisions that I made in my bedroom, just like practicing over and over, what can I do to make this part my own? It popped up on the stage, and it was incorporated in the show. 10 years later, after I'd made my debut and took my final bow, I was still influencing the show, a show which made such a significant impact on my life. I was surrounded by former Simbas, Nala's, Mufasa's. The original Simba and Mufasa were just a few seats away, and I couldn't hold back my excitement. I let a little yelp slip out, and for that moment, I saw all of those hours of becoming Simba paying off. And that small gesture that the current young Simba made, not knowing I had any part to play in that choreography, it reminded me that one person can make a difference. One Simba out of hundreds who would perform that role can make a lasting impact on the role. And that one role can leave a lasting impact on those who have the honor to play it. I was only on Broadway for 6 months. Most of the Cups do multiple contracts, typically a year. Some perform for 3 years. Now at the 20-year anniversary, we get to look back and see how the show impacted us. One of the Simbas who beat me out for the role initially is currently serving time for a very serious crime, and one of the Simbas is struggling with addiction, and several are doing things that I'm not going to bring up at this moment. A handful of us, we went to school, but the jury's still out on the argument that this role is inherently good for children's lives. The role made a difference in all of our lives. For many of us, we're the only ones in our community with such success so early. We were made out to be idols and local celebrities, and for the majority of us, it did get to our heads. And if it weren't for the clear direction of my parents that they set me and my brothers on, I'm far from certain where I would be in this moment. They have been living testaments in my life that individuals can make large impacts in communities, that one voice is powerful. It took a few years, but I realized I might never reach that pinnacle of success again. It took some time, but I am finally at peace with that notion. I dreamed of playing young Simba on Broadway, and I achieved that dream. Many of my fellow Cubs dream of being famous in some capacity, and I guess I still do. But I want to be known for raising the bar of Black governance. Now I want to solve the problems that impact so many African American communities nationwide. And I want to give other kids the same opportunity to perform that I had. The Lion King made a difference in my life, and I made a difference in the show, but I didn't allow it to consume me. Instead, I built on the foundation that it gave to me. In the grand scheme of my life, The Lion King was a massive step forward, but it was just one step. It was preceded by an initial step, a small, teeny sliver of a baby step at the age of 4 when I didn't even know what Broadway was. And that was the most important step of them all. Challenge yourself to do something outside of your comfort zone. If you don't know how to dance, but you've always wanted to, dedicate yourself to it. If you want to help people, begin doing so. But whatever way you decide to make a difference, whether in your life or in someone else's, take the first step and learn from it. Then take a bolder second step, and soon you'll be shocked to see how far you've come from that initial moment where you were doubting yourself. Make the decision to make a difference and commit to it. You never know where that first step will take you. I'd like to thank my parents for all the long trips up and back to New York, and for them not giving up on me, not then and not now. I really couldn't have done any of this without the strong support and love from my family. And this group, Adoptions Together Forever, that is their mission, bringing families together. Often when we talk about adoptions, people like to say that only the kids benefit, and that there's really no other benefit in the equation, but it's just so far from the truth. I've gotten so much from my parents, from their love and support, but they've also gotten a lot from me and my brothers. And it's really important that we also pay that respect as well. And so thank you, Adoptions Together Forever, for having me here today, but more importantly, for all the work that you do. And I'd like to say thank you for everyone who's coming out, and congratulations to the individuals who win these scholarships. And next year, hopefully, we can build on this and keep this moving forward. So thank you so much for hearing me speak, and have a great day.